life has not always been, let's say, a bowl of cherries. There have been some tough moments in Ann Byler's life, and it goes back. You lost a daughter to death when she was just an infant. That had to have been more than devastating.
Well, my sweet Angie, she was 19 months old when she went to be with Jesus, and it happened on a Monday morning, and she was taking her morning walk to my mom's house, and in a split second, she was killed instantly when my sister drove over her with the bobcat. She was hauling sand for my dad at that time. And, you know, it changed my life. Trauma changes our lives forever.
Yes.
And as Angie made her ascent into heaven that day, it's been many years ago, but I remember it like it was yesterday. I began my slow and very gradual descent into this world of spiritual confusion and emotional pain because I was confused. I thought that life is good and God is harsh. And that morning changed everything for me, and it really took me into this world that I knew nothing about.
But that was the beginning of a deep, deep spiritual challenge. And I think one of the most powerful things in the book is that you talk very candidly about how someone you went to for help during this time of your life took advantage of you.
After Angie was killed, the grief was more than I could bear. My husband and I, who'd been very closely, we just had a great marriage, and we began to just separate emotionally and in every way. And there was the Great Wall of China between us. And my pastor came to me about 5 months later, and he said, if you'll come talk to me in my office, he said, I'd like to, you know, just talk. I know you're not doing well. So that was really an answer to prayer for me. And before I left his office that day, he took advantage of me and took me into a world of sexual abuse for 7 years.
Oh, my goodness.
That,
out of your grief.
Out of my grief. And so the responsibility that I take about that is that I decided that day that I was never going to tell anyone, and that this would be my secret all the way to the grave. At the end of all that, I discovered that my other two sisters were also, he was also abusing them, and that's their story to tell, but it's also in my book. And also my youngest daughter was being abused by him.
You just held it in for many years. You started finally trying to work through it, but there was one thing that had to be done, and that's openly dealing with it.
And I was alone. I was going to church every Sunday. I was pretending like everything's just fine. If you would ask me how I'm doing, my standard answer was, I'm just fine, hallelujah. And nobody knew, but I was dying on the inside. And there were three things that I discovered during that time. There were three types of confession. One is the bedside prayer, which we all do, which is our wonderful privilege that we can do that as believers. The second was journaling, talking about my feelings on paper. And the third one was found in James 5:16. Confess your faults one to another, and you'll be healed. And I didn't know about that verse at that time, but 7 years into this, God spoke to me, and he said, I want you to get up off your knees. I want you to go tell Jonas, your husband, what's going on in your life. Well, it's not what I wanted to do. I didn't want to burden him. I didn't want him to know, because I knew it would devastate him. And when we're in this place of pain, we believe lies. Really, that's all we believe, lies. And the three lies that I believe was I'm unlovable, I am unchangeable, and I am unforgivable. I knew that for sure. And I knew if I told Jonas, being raised in the Amish and Mennonite culture, that he would divorce me. No doubt. And so I got up off my knees, and I got my little blue pickup truck, and we lived in Troop, Texas at that time, and I went to his office. He had a body shop. And when I went to the office, and I had 2 lines of the confession that I made to him. And when I said to him what I did, I looked him straight in the eyes, and I saw the look, and I turned around and walked away, because I knew that he is devastated, and I knew that he was going to come home and tell me that he's going to divorce me. Today, I'm grateful to say there is a happy ending to this story.
I'm waiting to hear it. That's the good news.
The happy ending is that we're married 51 years. In September the 14th, I have a wonderful man.
Wonderful.
And the good news is that one simple confession that I made that was hard, and it was harsh, and it was humiliating, that one confession changed the trajectory of my entire life. God began to redeem me my family, and then out of that redemption plan, he created Auntie Anne's. And if that confession would never have been made, there would be no Auntie Anne's. Can you imagine a world without Auntie Anne's?
I can't even imagine.
I mean, really, right?
You know, I think everyone watching the show is going to go out and confess something because they're thinking,
exactly.
What is the world going to miss if I don't do this? This is the book. It's called The Secret Lies Within. You need to get it. You can learn more on her website, AuntieAnnBeiler.com. It's right on your screen. And there you're also going to find her other books, her blog, free newsletter, and a whole lot more. Connect with her on Facebook at Auntie Ann Beiler and on Twitter and Instagram at Auntie Ann B.